Hey folks, it's Eric from Belgrade Beat, and greetings once again from not Serbia. I'm still in Mexico. I switched my kitchen around to the opposite from last video because, well, I'm in a different unit in the same building, and well, I'm really happy to still be in Mexico watching what's going on in Serbia with like the lockdown and everything like that. Well, it's not really a lockdown, but it's like as much as you can do without locking people in their homes, just close all the shops and everything like that. Now, I really saw this coming. I always hated in places that get cold for winter, like November was my least favorite month. December, also very depressing, although you have that holiday crap, which, does add a little magic to the air, I suppose. But anyways, I left almost 1 month ago on the 12th of November, and I started feeling the depression setting in, that this was going to be worse than a normal one. So on the 12th of November, there are 3,000 cases a day. So I was watching it go up, and I'm like, this ain't gonna end well. So now we've plateaued in Serbia. I'll check this every day. Around just under 800 cases a day. Wow, guys. I mean, I think it's safe to say that Serbia has lost the battle to contain the coronavirus. You can point fingers on why this is that, large parts of the population don't take it seriously, that it's inevitable, or that some people believe that the whole thing is a hoax still. I don't think it's a hoax. But yeah, I mean, it's obviously a pretty crazy thing, and the politicians do their best to handle it. And yeah, the best they can think of right now is close the shops early in the evening. All right. So when I left, there was 73,000 cases, and now there's 3 times as many cases, more than 3 times as many cases. So it's like a little bit of a ridiculous situation spiraling out of control. All that stuff with the church leaders and stuff dying of it, and people at those funerals still not wearing masks. It's really just puzzling, and it really shows the division in Serbian society between people who are modern and people who are traditional, and the way that they think. And I don't know. It I'm just really glad I'm not in Serbia right now. Sorry, folks, but it must be pretty depressing to be there right now, and I'm happy with my decision. I will be back in January at one point, I think. Depends on what happens, but I have to renew my papers to live there, which unfortunately is happening every year in January, and so come and do that. And it's just like waiting for that spring, because I really enjoyed my time in Serbia this spring. You can see the videos that I made riding my bike around the city and all that stuff. It was awesome. And, this whole thing was like kind of under control then. And, this uptick in cases really makes it seem like vitamin D and sunshine and nutrients from fresh vegetables probably have a lot to do with it, because that's stuff that goes down, in the winter as it gets cold. And well, so stay healthy, folks. And I want to see Serbia emerge from this in a way that's like stronger than ever, because Serbia's been through worse than this. And this, might be a really weird winter to go through, but there's been much worse. There's been war, bombings, all that stuff. And the good thing about Serbia is that people really know how to enjoy their life in spite of this. But that involves a lot of socializing in Belgrade. And that's what, seems to be spreading this thing. I don't know. But I'm in Mexico and everything's fine. The cases, are, well, there's cases, but I'm able to live my life outside. And I just hope that, the Belgrade that I love will be back in the spring, that it hasn't been decimated. Because one thing is for sure, there's no conclusive evidence that lockdowns will mean that less people will eventually get coronavirus. But there's a lot of conclusive evidence that lockdowns definitely do damage the economy and will actually harm a lot of people psychologically and health-wise and, economically because of that. So no easy way out of this one. Happy to be in a place where it's still warm, where I can get my sunshine, where I can live a healthy lifestyle, including walking outside and not be stuck in my apartment in Belgrade, because that's what it was looking like in early November. And yeah, I mean, what a luxury to be able to do this and to be able to work online and run my company from anywhere. And I'm really grateful for that. So what do you guys think? Are you pro the measures that they put in place, like closing the shops early, like keeping people from going out to bars at night? Or do you think they should just, at this point, just let everybody live their life however they want, because this thing's so out of control, it doesn't even matter anymore what you did to control it? Serbia failed. What do you think? What would be the better solution at this point? And I'm curious to hear of anybody who's working in the healthcare system, their personal accounts of what's going on. And I'm also interested to hear anybody who's having trouble, making ends meet because of this pandemic and surviving, because those are two sides that, I mean, you need to listen to. The people who are crushed by the lockdowns and the medical system that's struggling to deal with all the cases. And you need to weigh those contradictory perspectives, right? So yeah, and it was just announced today that Thailand is going to accept people from all over the world now, because they were only until now accepting people into their country from safe countries, but now they will accept people from all over the world if they'll do 2 weeks quarantine when coming into the country. And one of the quarantines that was approved is a golf resort quarantine that you can do and just play golf for 2 weeks during quarantine. So that sounds good. If I can do that for February, after I get my papers sorted out, I'll probably do that. Yeah, because Thailand, I was there from March until May, and they really did the right thing and got the virus under control. It was a cohesive social effort that made it happen, and I was impressed. And the simple measures that they're doing, by the way, here in Mexico, where everything's open, when you go into a supermarket, they take your temperature, make you wear a mask, and put hand sanitizer on your hands. That probably stops a lot of infection. Those little things. That's what I saw happening and working in Thailand. Now they have almost no cases, like for the last 6 months, that were local cases transmitted in the country. So that's amazing. I'd like to go back there. I also enjoyed going to Belarus this year, where there were no measures whatsoever. I just don't like this in between thing where it's like, yeah, let's close everything early because that'll help. It's like, no. This middle thing where you're taking away people's freedoms and the virus is still infecting everybody. That's, and that's the compromise that the politicians make, because they are trying to compromise with all the different dialogue and voices around them, and it's tough for them. I'm sure it's very tough, looking at the economy, listening to the health expert, listening to the hospital system, listening to all that stuff. But the compromise of, we're going to actually destroy the economy while the virus also destroys our society, and gets people sick, not a good one. But Thailand and Belarus, two countries where I think, either do it all the way, get a social cohesion where everybody's behind the masks, the hand sanitizer, the temperature checks, the not touching each other, greeting like this. That's what they always did in Thailand, and that's how they beat it. Although then the other approach is Belarus, like do nothing, let it infect. And the cases in Belarus aren't that crazy. I mean, the virus is getting out around there in the same way as Serbia. So I don't know. The West is also doing this sort of like half-assed sort of thing where, people not taking away too many freedoms from people, and then virus spreads, but still some things have had to lock down, and they keep on pumping the brakes and easing lockdowns, and like, not the way to go, folks. What do we stand for as a society in the West? I think it needs to be like freedom above all and people's choices above all, and the ability to decide above all. Because yeah, the lockdowns are an authoritarian tool, and that's what the Mexican president has come out and said, and that's why I really like being in Mexico, because people are allowed to live their lives without, authoritarian forces coming in good. But, in Thailand, what I witnessed was I didn't feel oppressed on that island. I felt like everybody was doing what was needed to solve the problem. They did. But there's all these like theories that it could be cross immunity with dengue fever, which is a mosquito-borne illness that has similar symptoms and is also a virus. And it could be that ties. There's like millions of cases in Thailand every year, apparently, or something around the world, hundreds of millions. I don't know, dengue, and that could breed an immunity or whatever it is. Who knows? Just know what you value about your life, and if that's freedom and doing things and living a vibrant life and expressing yourself, then speak up about it. I guess I'm more for the I'd like to go back to Thailand where this thing is not an issue anymore, and I would be willing to do 14 days of quarantine to get in that country because they did such a good job, and to respect their efforts and get into a place where there is no virus would be great. The Serbia thing was because I didn't want to be in a place where there is a virus everywhere, like everywhere, and everyone's forced to stay in their home and it's winter and all that stuff. So Mexico's really good for me right now. So thanks for listening. I don't know if this makes any sense. That's kind of where I stand. I try to entertain the contradictory ideas, and I just really want my Belgrade, let's say by the month of May, to be back to normal. So I can ride my bike around the city and enjoy the beautiful city, beautiful people, beautiful vibes of the city. And let's just hope it turns out that way. Be well, everybody. Thanks a lot.